What's going on, my PT peeps and my Walking Dead family? Welcome to the PT channel. I'm One Eye Bri, back to talk about The Walking Dead Season 9, Rick Grimes, and the potential future of where Rick went. Obviously, spoiler warning as of Season 9, Episode 5, and where the future of the show and the series and the Walking Dead movies may take us. So obviously, spoiler warning. We don't know exactly where Rick went because Scott Gimple and the writers aren't telling us, so we have a hypothesis and we're breaking it down. So ultimately, it's a theory and discussion about Rick Grimes and our Walking Dead family. But first, if you love The Walking Dead and the Walking Dead family, become a valued member of the PT channel and our Walking Dead family by hitting that subscribe button. And photo and info credit to these fine folks right here. And also, I got a couple pictures from Instagram that people gave me that I'm not sure who to credit. But Rick is on a helicopter at the end of Season 9, Episode 5. Before the time jump, before the 6-year time jump. That's crazy. Rick's going to be gone from the Walking Dead TV show forever. Rick's not coming back is what the word is. But Rick and Jadis and the helicopter people went somewhere else. And we're going to see Rick. We're going to see Jadis. We're going to see this new group of people. Is it Georgie's people? Is Maggie going to be there? Is Heath going to be there? We don't know. I think it's going to be either Washington, D.C., or Ohio, because remember, the story takes place in Virginia, and if you're in a helicopter, I doubt you can get really far on a helicopter without having to refuel. But I'm sure you can go for miles. You can't go across the ocean to London, or you can't go across the country in a helicopter, I'm guessing. But maybe the helicopter stops somewhere and there's another mode of transportation that is used, like a train, like a boat, like an aircraft carrier, like a yacht, or something like that. And the fact that we have a Toledo sign here is a connection to MASH, but it's just kind of funny that it's HQ, Oceanside, Alexandria, Sanctuary, and Toledo. And the fact that Toledo is a city in Ohio, and so is the Commonwealth from the comics, they're in Ohio, but we don't see a Los Angeles or New York or London or any other city on there. It's just Toledo. That's pretty interesting. But the Commonwealth is the storyline that we have in the comic right now. The New World Order storyline started around issue 175, and it's still to this day, the Commonwealth is a big part of the comic storyline currently. And it's pretty good. It's definitely a good comic storyline for The Walking Dead. But is it coming to the show in movie form? Is it going to come into one of the 3 movies, let alone the first movie? I don't think so right away, but I think it's a possibility down the road. But let's check out the comicbook.com article. She is on that helicopter, so that would be a yes, Gimple said when asked if Anne would be joining Rick in the movies. The first film will explore the vast mythology behind the helicopter group that has long been connected to Anne, and will be told from Rick's point of view as it unpacks the mystery behind that mysterious community and their A and B classification system. That serves the overall story to this next story we have for Rick, Gimple said. Both Lincoln and Gimple have confirmed Rick Grimes is off the mothership show for good. It is really important for the audience to know that we are going to be continuing to tell the story of Rick Grimes in these AMC Studios original films. We don't want this thing to be like, oh well, he'll be back on the show any moment now. We are telling Rick's story in another medium, and it's going to be these AMC Studios original films, Gimple told Entertainment Weekly. They're going to be on AMC, most probably. They're centered around Rick Grimes. We're going to tell the story of what happens after that helicopter flight, and these are going to be big, epic entertainments. And I think it makes sense that they go to Washington, D.C. I think if you could get there on horseback, you can get there by helicopter for sure. It should be close enough that the first stop of the first movie with the helicopter people would be Washington, D.C., because there can be a lot there. I would love to see the story continue in D.C., and it just makes sense based on the location. Eugene wanted the group to go there for a long time back in Season 4 and Season 5, and the current storyline is that they're in Virginia, pretty close to D.C., so the fact that we can get a reunion of Rick, Daryl, Carol, Michonne, Judith, everybody coming together at some point would be easier if they're in D.C. or potentially Ohio. But let's say they get to Washington, D.C., and if there's another CDC moment there, like Dr. Jenner, and I think there should be a CDC, some community, some safe zone that is working on a cure, or just a safe zone to rebuild civilization, that it's cleared out for miles and miles and miles, and it's safe. Kind of like the Commonwealth, but in Washington, D.C. I would love to see that. I would love to see more of a military viewpoint, maybe scientists, maybe something big is happening in D.C. that the government has been trying to work on for a while. But like I said before, Washington, D.C. was pretty close to the communities of Hilltop and Alexandria and all that because they got there on horseback. Route A, Route B. You can get around on horseback, so you can definitely get there by a helicopter ride. And the zombie apocalypse is going on for a while, so I would think helicopter fuel and gasoline in general is going to be tough to come by. And the time jump didn't happen yet. We're going to see it before the 6-year time jump. I wish this kind of happened. This is a Photoshop. Somebody made this. Credit to them for sure. I just didn't know who to credit for it. But I kind of wish there was a little more goodbye with Daryl, Carol, Michonne, and Maggie to Rick. But I can see that they're going to hopefully set up a connecting point somewhere down the road, because I want to see Rick be reunited with Michonne and Judith and Carol and Daryl and Maggie. I don't want to see that be the end. I don't want to see Daryl being upset like this, and the future episodes of season 9 are going to be like that. Michonne's going to be pissed, cold-hearted, really missing Rick. So will Daryl and probably Carol as well. And it makes sense because Rick was their leader and they think Rick is dead. And the possibility that Rick could still be out there could be very awesome for the universe, the show, the movies, that Daryl, Carol, Rick, Michonne, and Maggie, and Judith, of course, can go see Rick. And think about it. Judith looked like this the last time Rick saw her. The time jump should be huge to see that. So I would think down the road they will be reunited, because it wouldn't make sense for us to say Judith looked like this and then on the show she looked like that. And the Walking Dead universe, whether in movies or shows, need to be careful with the timeline, because if it jumps around too much, then and now and then and now, so when was this, it's got to be spelled out for the viewers. It's before this, after this. The timeline needs to be pretty precise and pretty accurate to what you saw on the show to connect the dots. And Gimple did say some of it's going to connect, some of it won't. Some will be before, some will be this, some will be that. But I just hope it makes sense, especially with the first movie. The Rick Grimes story will continue on, and that's definitely great. I know they want to have The Walking Dead year-round, so if we have the show, and then the movies, and then the show, and then a movie, that's pretty great. But the fact that we have an older Judith and a time jump, we're going to have to be careful with the timeline of things. And it doesn't make sense for Daryl and Carol and the big group of people to go find Rick early on. Probably down the road, probably in the second or third movie, it makes sense. And I do like the idea, well, the potential for the idea that Judith is replacing Carl. Even though I would want Carl and Judith to be working together, I'll take a badass Judith. It's not going to fill the void of what could have been Carl and Judith working together to eventually find Rick at the Commonwealth in Ohio. That would be pretty awesome. And if you read the comic, you know that Michonne is a different character. She has a different background. She had daughters, and in the show she had a son. And as of season 9, she'll have Judith, and, you know, something major coming up next episode. But what if Michonne and Judith go to the Commonwealth, like in the comic storyline, but instead of finding Judith's daughter, they find Rick? That would be pretty awesome. So what if it's Daryl, Michonne, and Judith, and we'll link Carol in there too. They go to the Commonwealth in Ohio, and they find Rick there. That would be an awesome moment. And we need those Terminus type moments where Carol saved the day and they get reunited, because The Walking Dead loves to have the main cast together, for them to split up, to come back together, to split up, to come back together. And I love it when they're all together personally. I loved it when they were working together for a common goal. The Daryl, Rick infighting thing, it was a little annoying, but I can see both sides, even though I was Team Daryl. And I think the first movie is going to open up like this. I think it's going to start with Rick in a hospital, some medical facility, just like the season 1 pilot. I think the movie should be, and could be, shot for shot, him waking up in the hospital and having deja vu to be like, wait a second, this feels very familiar. But there won't be any zombies. There'll be like if Rick woke up in the hospital without zombies. He's alive, he survived, and he's in the hospital. I just think it's going to be shot for shot, the movie, potentially with the pilot, because Rick was on oxygen in the helicopter going somewhere, and I think it makes sense to connect the pilot episode with the first movie. That would be pretty awesome. But what do you think, guys? Where did Rick go? Did he go to DC? Did he go to Ohio? Did he go to an aircraft carrier that's going to London? Is he going to be leaving the United States? Will he ever see Daryl, Carol, Michonne, Judith, Maggie ever again? I hope so, but we have to wait and see. So let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below, guys. If you're new to the channel and you haven't already joined our family here at the PT channel, please hit that subscribe button. We have a lot of fun here. And if you love The Walking Dead, this is the channel for you. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it.